Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to All Access Belize, your June 10th edition. And we have a very exciting guest today, coming all the way from Belize City. It's Miss Marsha Gill. How are you doing, Marsha?
I am doing great. Hello, everybody.
So we are so happy that you all can join us on this beautiful Thursday night. And again, my name is David Kafka, your host, and I am coming to you live from Mahogany Bay Village in Ambergris Key. Mahogany Bay Village is home to the 2021 Investor Summit on the Sand, which is the real estate guys' biggest and largest investment conference that they put on. We're going to have people like G. Edward Griffith, who wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island. It talks about the Federal Reserve. We have Robert Kiyosaki coming and his beautiful wife, Kim Kiyosaki, and so many more, George Gammon, so many more people. So I'm excited. We got a lot going on here, but I wanted to take my time out and invite all you to enjoy this edition of All Access Belize. Next edition will be July 8th, and it will be Damian Lupo, who is going to be talking about self-directed IRAs and the EQRP, and how you can take advantage of buying property without any penalties in Belize, or really anywhere for that matter, using your self-directed IRA. So I want to welcome Marsha here, and Sarah's in the background helping with the questions. And if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the question and answer poll or the box, and that way Sarah can manage them and remove them after we answer it, and I'm not having to toggle back and forth between the chat box and all that. So welcome everyone, and thanks again for Marsha for attending and Sarah for helping. Again, my name is David Kafka, your host, and as you know my story, originally from Charleston, South Carolina. I was a fireman, a landscaper, and sold everything in 2010 in February and moved to Belize. And I currently do real estate. I have some investment projects. I'm asset managing those for investors. And so we have quite a bit of stuff going on. I'm also the sales manager at Mahogany Bay, and I have several other businesses that I run. And so Marsha, welcome again, and tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know you have some slides. Whenever you want to get into the slides, go ahead and share your screen.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm so glad to be here. And you know, David, when we set this date, at the time, I did not realize that on this very day, I'm celebrating my 30 years in the financial industry.
Oh, wow.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. June 10, 1991. So when I thought about it, I said, wow, you know, I couldn't have picked a better date. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Marsha Gill. I've been in the financial industry for the past 30 years, 15 years in banking, and now 15 years in the insurance industry. I own my company called MQ Financial Solutions. And through my company, I represent two major insurance companies, Sagicor Life Inc. and Master United. And through these companies, I'm able to offer my clients all lines of insurance and financial planning tools. I'm a justice of the peace in Belize.
Oh.
And I also am an adjunct lecturer in accounting at the University of Belize. I'm the proud mother of one son. He's 20 years old. And my favorite hobby is traveling. So that's in a nutshell about myself, right? I will share my screen. I guess I went through that slide already, right? So basically, the services that I offer at my company include life insurance, critical illness plans, health insurance, endowments, pension plans, mortgages, mortgage indemnity insurance, property and contents insurance, vehicle golf cart insurance, really all lines of insurance I'm able to offer to my clients. I do financial planning with my clients, and I like to have my clients think about these questions, right? If you were to get ill, how would you pay for your medical expenses upfront? How would I maintain my family's lifestyle if I could no longer work? Would I be limited to local healthcare because of finances? Would I be able to pay off my loans, mortgages, etc. immediately? Would it be possible for me to stop working so I could spend quality time with my family? Do I have enough money for retirement? If I die early, will the people who are dependent on my income be able to survive? And all these questions I am able to answer for my clients through the services that I offer. So what I try to do is to just give you a snippet of the different insurance. And the first one I want to go over is the life insurance. And everybody can purchase a plan. If you become resident in Belize, you can purchase any of our plans. Life insurance, that is used to protect family, spouse, retirement, house. It replaces lost income. And it's flexible. It can be used for retirement savings as well as paying for children's education. So there's many benefits to life insurance. Retirement planning. We are one day closer to enjoying the rest of our lives. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? Retirement dreams are too important to be left to chance. Planning is the answer. And for retirement, we offer services in the line of endowment plans, which are very attractive plans because they provide guaranteed returns as they're not tied to market interest rates that fluctuates. Pension plans, cash value life insurance plans. Critical illness, that's another attractive plan and a very important plan. And I know that I guess all of us or most of us have had somebody close to us afflicted by a critical illness. So this is an excellent plan that we offer. And the way this plan works is that it provides a lump sum if diagnosed with a critical illness. And we currently have 21 illnesses that are covered under this plan. The persons that can enter this plan range from ages 20 to 65, and the benefits is available up to 75. So anybody who has this plan is covered up to age 75. The illnesses that are covered, these are the illnesses that are covered. As I said, it's 21 illnesses that are covered on this plan. And the amount of coverage, you can purchase any amount you choose, and the lump sum would be paid upon the diagnosis of any of these critical conditions. So it's an excellent plan to have whether you have a health insurance or not, because if you have a health insurance, it complements the health insurance in that it picks up those out-of-pocket expenses that the health insurance would not take care of. And in the absence of a health insurance plan, then it's more important to have at least a critical illness that will provide a lump sum that you can help to defray the medical expenses. Health insurance. And I think this is one that I think David would want me to focus on, because I know that persons who migrate will still want to have coverage here where they are residing. And our health insurance plan is a comprehensive health plan. And what that means that it covers everything that is medically required, ranging from a consultation to any major medical benefits, prescription medication, diagnostic testing, lab testing, everything that's medically required is embraced under our health insurance plan. Persons can apply for this plan from ages 0 to 65, and you can stay covered on the plan up to age 99. So basically, we're covering you for your entire life once you choose to be a part of the plan. It can be utilized locally, regionally, or internationally. So if you're in Belize, you can get the treatment here. If not, we expect you to seek treatment in the region, and our region is considered to be Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras. If the treatment is not available local or regionally, we allow our clients to go wherever in the world that is available. And if while you're overseas and there's an emergency, you can get healthcare wherever you are in the world. So the plan gives you worldwide coverage. Our coverage range from, and all these figures are Belize dollars. So our range is from 250,000 Belize dollars up to $1 million. And if converted to US, that's like 125,000 US up to 500,000 US dollars. Deductible ranges from $0 to up to $2,000. So we have a 0 deductible, a 500 deductible, 1,000, and I missed the 2,000. I apologize for that. Dental and vision benefits are also included, but they're optional. So if you choose not to include those two benefits, you can just go with the medical plan, but you can include the dental and vision as additional benefits on the plan. The copay is 20%. So we reimburse our clients 80% after they have satisfied the deductible. Once the expense reaches more than 20,000, we cover 100%. So it's only up to 20,000 in expense, or US 10,000, that you would have to make your copay of the 20%. Everybody covered under a health plan is entitled to a free preventative package. And this includes a routine physical examination, consultation, routine blood works, urine tests, pap smear, mammogram, prostate exams, and so forth. So everybody that is covered is entitled to this free package, and that is not subject to deductible. That's free of cost every year. Coverage level available is in 3 tiers. So it can be a single person, it can be a second tier, which is 2 persons, and that could be a dependent child or a spouse. And then there's the family level, which would be 3 or more persons. And that could be from 3 to 20 to 10, whatever that amount is. So at the family level, it's 3 and more. Dependent child coverage is up to 25. So if you have a dependent child on the plan, we keep them covered once they're a full-time student up to age 25, right? So it's extremely, as I said, it's a comprehensive health plan that embraces everything, embraces everyone under the plan, right? And the fact that we have entry age up to 65 is really good, because when persons move, maybe they're around that age range and they can still apply for a coverage like this. Any questions so far? I wanted to spend more time answering direct questions, so I just, did the short presentation just for you to get an idea of the services that are available. But I'm open to any specific questions that you would want to ask at this time.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, so love to answer. We have some questions already popping in. We'd like to kind of focus on insurance related questions. I have a couple, and that way, it'll be covered and captured, and then we can go ahead and once those are done, we can kind of go ahead and answer those questions. If sorry, I'm just trying to get back into full screen. Wanted to see Marsha again, and so stop share. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so let's see what kind of questions we have. Marsha, I have one question. So talk a little bit about all perils insurance in the States. When we have insurance in the States, like when I lived in Charleston, I had to get flood insurance, I had to get earthquake insurance, everything else was added. But in Belize, we have something called all perils insurance. Can you talk a little bit about that? And also, are wood structures covered?
Yes, okay. So you have the comprehensive insurance, and then you would have comprehensive with hurricane. So it's one or the other. So the comprehensive with hurricane would add on the additional perils of the hurricane. The regular comprehensive would then deal with the other perils, the regular perils of fire and so forth, right? So it's just 2 categories you would have normally, the comprehensive and then the comprehensive with hurricane, right? Okay. The other question was, David?
Do y'all cover wood houses?
Oh, yes, we certainly do. The premiums, to be honest, are usually higher because the risk is higher. But yes, we do cover wooden, we do combined structures, so it can be partially wooden, partially concrete. So yes, all structures are covered, but the assessment of risk will determine the cost.
Okay, so if we have a concrete base and a wooden top or hardy plank siding or a cement board, is that a lower premium than, let's say, all wood?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, because it would be partially wood. So it would be less than a fully wooden structure.
Gotcha. And so most of our audience is from either the US or Canada. And for your insurance, do you have to be a resident for health insurance or life insurance?
Once you're residing, a resident in Belize is normally somebody who resides for 6 months consecutively, right? So
Okay.
yes, if we use that, yes, they can apply.
Okay. Very good. Okay. So they don't have to physically be their
A Belizean.
Immigration
No,
status of a resident or whatever.
no,
As long as they're
they just
here
have
for
to,
6 months.
yes, once they're resident in Belize for 6 months or more, yes,
Gotcha.
they can apply.
And just for full disclosure, I mean, this is, we cover everything in Belize, but Marsha is my personal insurance agent. So that's why I'm bringing her on, because I like working with her. And I know she's very knowledgeable, and I know she has that financial planning. So I just wanted everybody to know that, I do have my insurance with her. So let's look at some questions. Tiki Tim, what's up, buddy? He's asking about pre-existing conditions. Can you talk about how the medical field or how insurance deals with that?
Okay, so everything is expected to be disclosed at the application stage so that we can definitely underwrite the risk. So a person with pre-existing condition can apply. The rate might be higher based on, of course, what the pre-existing condition and how it's managed. But it's on a case by case because everybody manages their health differently. So when we look at how you manage it, will determine, the rating that we will place on it. The only pre-existing condition that we do not accept an application for is diabetes. So that's the only pre-existing condition that we exclude and we cannot accept an application for. But any other pre-existing condition we do look at, and the rating is based, as I said, on the management of the condition.
Gotcha. So if somebody's a diabetic, it wouldn't be a case where they would not pay for anything related to diabetes. They're just not allowed to have insurance.
Not allowed, yes.
Okay, very good. Okay. So let's just kind of skip those two. Steve, hey Steve, how are you? When is the real estate conference David mentioned? Yeah, it starts Sunday and it's for 8 days. It is unfortunately sold out, but if you let me know, I can definitely get you set up for when they go next year. This year we're gonna go ahead and do a poll to see if everybody wants to bring it back to Belize, have it somewhere else, or go back on a cruise ship. So normally this conference is on a cruise ship. It'll be 2 days normally in Florida, and then a cruise ship for about 7 or 8 days. And during the days that we are sailing in, all day sailing, we're in classes all day. And normally there's a class always in the morning, and we do excursions, and we're always talking about investments, crypto, real estate, the economy is the main thing, just so we can kind of see what's going on out there and how it's affecting basically our life and what we can do to be prepared. So if you reach out to, or Sarah can put in the chat, it's the Real Estate Guys, and she can send you a link to their website. Charlie's like, or Carrie is saying, what are the typical monthly or annual costs for health insurance?
It's dependent on age, of course, but the cost ranges from as low as less than 100 US, and it can go as high, then this would be for one person, of course. It could go as high for one person, anywhere between 100 US to 200 US, depending on the age of the person. Of course, with the older the person is, the higher the premium would be.
Right.
So
And so
it's very affordable.
it is very affordable. And I just, especially compared to the US. Now, Canadians,
By far.
you all have, free insurance, but it's not free. You pay for it in taxes. But I do have, because I'm looking at it, I do have costs for myself and for my family for different deductibles and different amounts up to $1 million. And I think I don't think there's anything wrong with me sharing that, right, Marsha?
No, you can go ahead. Yes.
Okay, so it is for me, but if you send an email to admin@caribbeancapitalgroup.com, admin@caribbeancapitalgroup.com, and Sarah will put that in the chat. I'll send you my quotes. Again, I have one for just me, and I have one for me and my family, and it'll have different deductibles, and that'll give you kind of an update. Or you can reach out to Marsha. I guess that would be even easier if Marsha don't mind putting a quote together for you. She can give you a quote. But if you're just kind of looking and just wanting to get an idea, my quote will give that to you, and that kind of will free up Marsha from having to do it.
Yes, and that you mentioned the deductible, the lower the deductible, the higher the premium, and the higher the deductible, the lower the premium. So yes, that would be the age, and the deductible will basically determine the cost of the premium.
Yeah, very good. So, okay, so Carrie, that answers. Tiki is asking, Tim is asking, I've heard that hurricane insurance wouldn't cover wind and water damage if it did become an actual hurricane, just a tropical storm. Is water damage more comprehensive than hurricane?
No, that would come under the hurricane.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Under hurricane, and I suggest that that if you do it, go with the hurricane, because it wouldn't make sense not to include the hurricane, because that's what happened in the past with some of the storms that we had. That persons just had comprehensive, and they thought that that covered everything, only to find out that it didn't include the hurricane. So it's best that you just include the hurricane, and that way you know that you're covered for everything, and there will be no surprises.
Exactly. So Kevin is asking, he has a home in the Gap area on the Hummingbird Highway, and it's in a higher elevation. Marsha, do you feel that he needs hurricane insurance?
I think so. Because we don't know, and the way these storms are coming, everything is so different now. So you just don't know, and it's best to have it and don't need it than to need it and don't have it. So I would say, just have it, because you just don't know. You just don't know. Everything is so unpredictable now. So just to be safe and protected, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Even those storms, if they come in as a category 4 or 5, let's say in Placencia or San Pedro, for Kevin, if it comes in Placencia, by the time it gets to you, it still might be a category 3, which can do a lot of damage. So I would guess it kind of depends on your risk tolerance.
Yes.
It would kind of depend on what your house is made of and exactly how high the elevation is. But like Marsha says, it's better than safe than sorry. I do have a top 53 countries or cities that has the most hurricanes, and Belize is not even on that list. It's places like Savannah, Georgia, the Outer Banks, Florida, places like that, Texas, Bahamas, Puerto Rico. So, it's not that we don't have them. It's just the likelihood of them coming is a little less. So again, it just kind of depends on what your risk tolerance is. But it's always better to be prepared, I would say. Yeah. All right. So Marcelo, I bought a property after 2 years. Government says property is worth 4 times what I paid for and I owe land tax. Maybe you can explain, is it the assessment on the stamp duty or is it the property tax? Because the property tax is usually a land tax and it doesn't matter what you have on it. But if you can maybe kind of clarify that statement a little, Marcelo, I would appreciate that. Tim's asking, is a tropical storm damage covered with a hurricane?
Yes.
So it's basically an all perils insurance.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay, so Marcelo, so you're saying that you bought a property, you paid stamp tax on, let's say $50,000, but the government is saying you owe $150,000 or $200,000 in stamp tax. Is that correct? So if that's correct, I was just on a call last night with the Chamber of Commerce with our deputy, he's not deputy prime minister, but it's Minister Courtney Coy, and he's the Minister of Finance. And we talked about this very subject because it is a big problem. So what you can do is you can get a appraisal done on the property, and you can make sure it is certified or stamped with a justice of the peace with how much you paid for and what it's worth. And then you can submit that through your real estate agent. If you bought it through RE/MAX, First Choice, we definitely help our clients with that. But whoever you bought your real estate agent with should help you with that. If you bought it on your own, you maybe could hire somebody to do it. But that's really the only thing you can do on that part is kind of, is take it with that. So William is asking, can you speak to available financing, owner financing also? So I definitely would like to ask Marsha about that because I'd say Marsha, probably 40% of our sales are financed. And everybody, we hear a lot of places will get financing, but not a lot of people do. I know Sagicor does do some financing. Is that still the case?
Yes, we do mortgages, but the non-Belizeans would need to go through the central bank requirements.
Okay. So
they would have to fulfill that requirement to qualify for the mortgage, but we do offer financing.
So if a American or Canadian wants financing, they can go through you and you help them through the central bank requirements?
Yes, I could assist them through that because they have to go through that process before we can, look at an application.
Okay. And what typically is the term, the interest rate, and how much down?
The interest rate is starts at around 5.5%, but
wow.
it's negotiable depending on the project.
Okay.
The repayment period usually is 30 years, so usually coincide with retirement.
Okay.
And the down payment can range from 5 to 10%, again, depending on the project.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So there you go for owner financing. I'll tell you what our typical financing is, and I have a report on that. If you reach out to Sarah or admin at CaribbeanCapitalGroup.com, Sarah can send it to you. I have a report on the types of leverage you can use, but our typical seller financing is probably about 40 to 50% down. It's going to be, the interest rate is going to be above the US, but below Belize, which, I mean, 5% is awesome. Our average seller financing is 5 to 8%, depending on how much you put down. And the term is usually a 30% mortgage or a 30-year mortgage, I'm sorry, with the balloon, typically at usually year 2, 4, 5, or 7. Very rarely do I see a seller going above 10 years. But I have seen a 30-year loan. I just did one here at Mahogany Bay, which was a 30-year loan. He put 60% down and it was 7%. So it's definitely possible. So let's do, Carrie is asking, if we won't be down there full time, does the QRP program make sense? Just on that question, I would say it depends on how much you come down. If you're here for a month or two, I personally feel it doesn't make sense. The QRP does have a cost, and it does, you have to renew it every year, but my personal opinion is it doesn't. If you're here 6 months or more, then I think it does make sense. If you plan on bringing a boat, a car, a plane, whatever, your personal goods, then yes, I do think it will make sense as well. Do both people in a married couple have to be down there for 30 consecutive days or just one person? Ooh, that's a good question. You know that question, Marsha, that answer?
No,
I don't think.
yeah, that's a good question.
That's a good question. Sarah, make a note of that and let me check with the BTB because I'm not 100% sure on that. I think it would be each person, but let me just double check. And either both of you can apply or just one of you can apply. So I have some clients that come down, or I have some agents that you know, the husband or the wife wants to work and the husband does not, or the wife doesn't want to work, or so one will apply for the QRP and one will not. If we don't want to apply for, qualify for the QRP, but want to have a home down there that we rent part-time and live part-time, how are the goods like furniture, appliances? So most houses here, honestly, are sold fully furnished. So if you want to bring everything I brought into the Belize, I paid duty on because I wasn't old enough for the QRP and didn't qualify for it. So you can just pay the duty, or you can buy a house that is already, you know, rented. Let's talk about, Marsha, contents insurance. So all perils insurance does not cover contents insurance, correct?
No, it's a separate insurance. So you would have to do the insurance for the building and then you will do the content separate. So it's two separate insurance.
Okay. So let's say also I have an expensive painting that grandma left me, or some jewelry and stuff like that. Can you add those to the policy?
Yes, you could add whatever you consider to be valuable, because when I do the insurance, I will ask you for a list and you're going to list all the contents that you want to cover along with their value, because sometimes there can be partial loss. So we have to be able to ascertain what was lost as a result of the peril and what, you know, we need to cover for you. So there will be a detailed listing as to what you want to cover so that we know exactly the value of each item.
Very good. And when we talk about insurance, is it replacement cost or is it how much you have on it? So let's say you have a house and you feel like it will cost, let's say I have a $500,000 house. The lot is worth $100,000. So we're going to insure my house for $400,000, but it cost $450,000 to rebuild it after a fire. What does insurance cover?
It covers what the value of the property is, right? Because you don't want to underinsure. Because if you underinsure, when the claim happens, basically you will get less than what the property is really valued. So say, for example, that you have a property that's worth $500,000, as you mentioned, and you decide you want to insure it for $250,000. When we pay the claim, it doesn't mean that you will get $250,000, because you were 50% insured, you might get 50% of the $250,000. So it's best that you do a valuation of the property so you know exactly what the value is, because the whole purpose of having the insurance is to replace it in the event there is a catastrophe. So you don't want to underinsure the house. right? And it's that the cost of the land doesn't matter because the land will remain. So
Correct.
it's the structure that the value of the structure that you're looking at.
Correct. Okay, very good. So is it, Carrie is asking, is it more expensive to have your belongings shipped or better to purchase new things there? I will say that things are coming down in price. You know, a TV 7-8 years ago, a flat screen cost probably 4,000 or 5,000 Belize. Now you can get like a 50-inch, 55-inch for 1,600 Belize. So prices are coming down. In my opinion, it's not worth to ship it anymore. I used to ship it from Amazon, and I get sent to my shipper, and then my shipper sends it to me, and I just pay the duty on it. And it ends up being, you know, not that much cheaper. Plus, most of the places here, you could buy an extended warranty and it'll get fixed. So I feel it's not worth it anymore to bring it in personally. But it's up to you based on like a car. I feel a car, if you have a good used car or a good car that you know, I'd say bring it in because there's no disclosure laws and no limit laws. So you could be buying a car like a 2019 Toyota 4Runner, and they don't tell you that it's been fully wrecked and salvaged and brought here and replaced with subpar parts, and you could have problems in the future. So you just need to do your due diligence on that. How much you're going to pay on the tax, it depends on what it is. So if you go to the customs.gov, I think, for .bz, I think is the website for customs, you can kind of look into what some things are. And then they will give you a quote. Carrie's also asking, what are the possibilities of getting a work visa and working in Belize? Or is it better to try to find and keep remote US-based work if we'll be moving there to generate income? You can definitely get a work permit. Pretty much anybody can get a work permit. However, you're not going to get a work permit that can replace a Belizean. So let's say you want to be a scuba diver instructor. Let's say you want to be a waitress or a bartender. You won't get a work permit for that. You can get a work permit to open a bar or to start a bar, start a tour company, and then hire the Belizeans to do that. Belize is very friendly. We're looking to start businesses, but we're definitely not here to take businesses away. And so I definitely want to discourage people that are wanting to move here to do, things that a Belizean can do, because we have a high unemployment rate. So we need to create jobs for Belizeans, not take jobs from them. Kevin, what would be a good expat site to converse with other expats? There's a lot on Facebook. If you just, look at, if you go to Facebook and look at Belize expats, you'll see a bunch of them and you can apply for that. Just sometimes there's some grumpy people on there and they put some dumb stuff on there and they're negative and things like that. They didn't do things right, or they got taken advantage of because they didn't do things right or didn't do their homework, or used an agent that was unscrupulous. So just take it with a grain of salt and then, kind of go from there. Kevin's asking, do you also offer umbrella policies? Ooh, that's a good question.
Not currently.
Not currently.
Yes.
What about errors and omissions?
I don't think we do, David.
So like in the States, every real estate agent has to have an errors and omission. And I checked on it a few years ago and y'all did not offer it.
Oh, that's why I'm saying, no, I don't think we have started either. Yes.
Okay. So we're working on getting the real estate, the legislative law passed, and we'll see if that happens. Then we'll have to have it. But
yes,
You don't have umbrella insurance, but you do have liability insurance,
Yes.
like that.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Car insurance is very good. You do have to have car insurance for ATVs, motorcycles, things like that. Anything that you ride on not only do you have to have insurance, you have to have it licensed. So once you get it licensed with Marsha, or insured with Marsha, then you have to take it to the transport office to get it licensed so you actually can. Now, if you're using it for a farm and you're not taking it on the road, I say no, don't worry about it. But I don't know, you want to add something to that, Marsha?
No, I agree. Once it's used in public, then you have to get it. But as you said, if it's not intended to use in public, then I won't bother.
Okay. Talk about boat insurance. Tell us a little bit about, can you get boat insurance? What's some of the requirements on that?
Well, the boat insurance, yes, it's possible. It's just to basically let us know the details of the boat, and then we would provide a quote for coverage. So it's a straightforward policy as well.
Okay. And
yes.
Does it cover
theft?
Available.
Like yes, it covers theft. Yes.
Okay. I know some people or some insurance companies want to make it to where you have to have it at a marina of some sort. Is that Massey's policy?
Usually we ask where the boat will be basically docked most of the time. Again, and all this has to do with the risk so that we are able to assess the risk, right? So yes, we would ask those questions where the boat is usually docked and so forth. Yes.
Okay. So another question on insurance. My house, I have smoke detectors. I have fire extinguishers. I have a security alarm. I have security cameras. Does that bring down the value, or not the value, but does that bring down the premium on the insurance?
Yes, it definitely does. So the more security you have in place, it does lessen the premium. It does indeed.
Okay. And so I have a GPS tracker on my boat. I keep my boat out of the water. So for something like that, you would insure it?
Yes, we would. We would.
Okay.
Because not everybody leaves the boats at a marina. So yes, we do. Right. We just have to know what is the normal case, right?
Exactly. Okay. So guys, we're 6:44. We have about 15 minutes. Of course, I always want to know what interests you. So Sarah's going to throw up a poll, and then if you answer it, you'll have your choice of, again, getting one of Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's the #1 financial author, and he's going to be here this weekend at Mahogany Bay. And if I can get him to sign a copy, I'll send you one of those. You can also have either one of the books that I co-authored. I had the privilege of co-authoring an article in this book, or the latest one, Success Habits of Super Achievers. So once the winner, Sarah will reach out to you, and you can give us your address, and we will send it to you, and you can pick which one of those 3 you want. So while we're doing that, Marsha, Rachel's asking the approximate premium for contents insurance for, like, let's say $30,000 US worth of goods.
Okay, I'm pulling my calculator. It's really not a straightforward calculation, to be honest, because it will depend on the structure in which the contents are held. So for example, if the contents are in a wooden structure, the premiums are higher than a content in a concrete structure, for example. So it's really hard to say, but I'll just do a basic. She said 30,000 US?
Yeah, 30,000 US. Let's suggest it. Let's say it's a concrete structure. I know what it was about 8 years ago, because I got a quote for a client. It was like 700-800 Belize for the year.
Yeah, I have it like around 500 Belize.
Yeah.
So it's really not an expensive insurance. And if
No.
you have the property insured, might as well you do the contents. And that
Yeah.
was another wake-up call for Belizeans. I think it was Hurricane Earl, David, where
Yes.
a person's structure was not necessarily destroyed, but due to the water and the flooding, then the contents of the home were destroyed, and then people didn't get anything because they didn't have the contents insured, just the structure. So
Yeah.
if you do the property, just might as well you do the contents, because it's so minimal. The cost is minimal.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah, very good. We have a few questions in the chat box, so let me look through those real quick. So there was a question on the EQRP. I talked about Damian Lupo with the EQRP. That is totally separate than the qualified retirement program to move to Belize. So if you're interested, this is the EQRP is a self-directed IRA. So many Americans have a 401k where they put in for retirement. And you can convert that into a self-directed IRA or an EQRP, and you can buy property with that without having to pay penalties and interest and things like that. So there is a difference. What was the age you still can be covered for? So the ages for coverage for life insurance and health insurance. Go through those ages again.
The ages for health insurance is up to age 65. From
Okay.
birth up to age 65. And it's more or less the same thing for life insurance as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ask Marsha to get to me. Chandra's going to get you a quote directly, or she's going to reach out to you for a quote. Can you clarify what services you're referring to or post your question? Oh, sorry, that was Sarah. Yeah, so we have more coverages. How about a annual insurance on a 2018 Jeep Cherokee?
Depends on what coverage you're going for. You can do third party, which is very low in cost. You can do fire and theft. You could do comprehensive, and you could do the comprehensive with hurricane. So it all depends which coverage that you would go with. The third party is very, very minimal in cost. That's like around, I would say, less than 200 US for the year for a regular third party coverage. Comprehensive would be anywhere for 2018. That's a 4-cylinder vehicle, right? I would say maybe around anywhere between US 500 to maybe US 750.
Yeah.
But I would need to, get the exact quote, because the comprehensive and the hurricane, those aren't set amounts. It depends on the make of the vehicle and the year of the vehicle. Right. But it's normally around those ranges.
And it goes by the value too, right? Because my insurance goes down every year.
Yes. So, and every year you renew, we ask you to depreciate it.
Yep. Yes. So I can give you, like, I have a 2013 Isuzu D-Max, which is, I mean, they don't have those in the States. It's a 4-cylinder turbo diesel. I think I pay around 1,600 Belize for the year, and I have full coverage. When we talk about liability only, that's what we talk about, the third party. Yes. So that's what we would consider liability only in the States. I have a 2018 Nissan Kick, and I have full coverage, including glass breakage, and that is, my office pays my bills, so I don't even know. It's probably in the I think 18 or 2,200 or something like that, maybe.
Belize
yeah,
dollars.
Belize. Yeah. I'm talking Belize money. So it's definitely, all my insurance here is cheaper than in the U.S.
By far.
By far, including the health insurance. So, I definitely, when people ask, is it cheaper to live here? I feel like it is. If you want to eat like an American and you want Breyer's ice cream and Jack Daniels and all that, you're going to pay for it. But if you like, fish and rice and beans and chicken and and you'll drink some award-winning 5-barrel rum, you can definitely live a lot cheaper. So Kevin's asking, is a government road shared, used by other owners of adjoining properties, and electrical utility poles are located on along this road going to be covered under property insurance?
Repeat that question.
So if a government road, let's say my house in, you have my house insured with in San Pedro. It's on it's a government road. Is that covered with property insurance? So if something happens on the road, I think it's what you're, maybe you can clarify it, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't think that's clear.
Yeah, because technically, like if something happens with the utility poles, the electric company is going to take care of that.
Yes.
Government's going to take care of the paving, maybe. Definitely, if it's an election year, they'll do it. But maybe you can kind of clarify that question a little bit, Kevin. And thanks everybody for the poll. So the government road runs off the Hummingbird Highway 3/4 of a mile. So would your property insurance cover the road? No, it's probably just your property, right?
That's your private property, yes.
This goes up to the property line.
Yes.
Okay. So if I have a house insurance and somebody slips and fall, and I don't rent the house out, and they want to sue me, is that covered by my property insurance?
That would be liability, David.
Okay.
That would be liability insurance.
Okay.
Yes.
So you would need that as well.
Yes.
Okay. One thing about Belize is it's not a litigious company or a country like the U.S. In order for you to, take somebody to court, you're going to have to pay for both lawyers, because if you lose, you're going to have to pay for both lawyers. And also you're going to have to hire a lawyer, or you're going to have to be here. So there's not a lot of frivolous lawsuits like you see in the U.S. I do have a small resort in Hopkins, and we've never had any problems. We have liability insurance on it, but it's you're not going to have a lot of problems. But it was a question I wanted to ask. So
and then David, if I could interject, like if they would have property in Belize and you like rent it out when they're not here, it would be suggested for them to do the liability insurance once they plan to. Yes.
And that goes up to how much? How much can you get on that?
As much as you wish to cover. 5
million, 10 million.
Yes.
You can go up to that.
Yeah. Okay. But normally in Belize, they won't buy that much.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think, because somebody was asking a question about umbrella insurance, in the States, it's very popular that you get this insurance, that insurance, this insurance, and then you get an umbrella insurance that helps pick up any other, like myself, I have, 5 or 6 businesses. I'd probably want an umbrella insurance for that. Do you see Sagicor or Massey offering something like that?
It's possible because Massey is international. So my experience is that if it's something that we don't normally offer in Belize, sometimes we can go to the head office and request that it be done, because more than likely it's offered in another jurisdiction. So it's something that the company does have, just that in Belize that we wouldn't offer it. But if the client requires it, it's possible.
Okay. So typically in the US, you have insurance and they want to do everything to not pay. So can you tell me a little bit about insurance here? I've never had a claim. So I really don't know the answer to this. Are you going to have problems with, in your experience, are you going to have problems with making claims or paying claims?
We pay claims because that's really where the insurance gets tested. And for example, Sagicor, we have been in business over 186 years. And I like to say that if we weren't doing the right things, I don't think that we would be around for such a long time. And Massey as well has an excellent reputation in the Caribbean. They're actually the #1 general insurance in the Caribbean. And as I said, it's really through claims that you really see, you know, the type of company that you deal with. And I would want to say that both companies has an excellent reputation. So I'm sure that we're paying claims. I have not experienced any issues with my clients for the past 15 years that I've been in this business in terms of settling claims.
Gotcha. And does Belize offer like a private adjuster? So you have, you know, your insurance company has your own adjuster with a value. Could I hire a private adjuster to work with your adjuster to make sure everything is covered?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay. Let's see what else. I think that's, I mean, our questions are good. Robert Rickards, when you own property in a development that rents the property out part-time, what's the typical insurance coverage and who covers when a renter falls and is injured?
I think you mentioned that just now, yeah.
Just mentioned that. So that would be your liability insurance. So you definitely want to offer liability insurance.
Yes.
Or have liability insurance. So if you're renting your property out, I definitely would recommend having full coverage, all perils insurance on your what do you call it? On your house. And if you rent it out, you definitely want to get liability as well. So Kevin's asking if a hurricane blows down the utility poles, which you had to pay, basically you're paying for that utility pole, but once it's installed, they're going to maintain it. So anything there, I would think they would maintain it.
Yes, the electric company, yeah.
The electric company will maintain it. When's the best time to visit? So in my opinion, it's always depending on what you want to do. If you're looking at property to live here, I suggest you come in the rainy season, which is the hot season, and also the dry season, which is, you know, the summer months and things like that, or the winter months. November, December, January is beautiful here. But like right now, it's beautiful. We had some light rain today, but it's been nice. It was a little hot, but it's always a good time, in my opinion, to live here, except for maybe September, October. It's kind of buggy and not a lot of breeze, but it's still a good time if you're wanting to invest to get the worst possible time to check here. And if you can deal with that, then you can deal with it any other time. The dollar is worth 2 to 1. So it's $1 US is 2 Belize dollars. And if you are earning a pension, you do not pay taxes in Belize. It's just whatever your tax situation is in the US is what it will be. So in conclusion, thank you so much, Marsha, for joining us tonight. It was very informative. That hour went by super fast. Everybody in the chat got your contact information. So if you have any questions, Marsha is an outstanding person. She has a great staff that helps her out. And if you have any questions whatsoever, reach out to Marsha. Again, if you want just an idea of what health insurance is, reach out to admin@caribbeancapitalgroup.com because I have that already. All Access Belize, tune in July 8th again for that. Stay tuned for the times, and we welcome everybody to that. And again, this will go back onto my YouTube channel, and I will share it with Marsha so Marsha can put it out to her clients. And again, thank you so much, Sarah, for all the work you're doing in the back end. And Marsha, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Thank you.